Good evening, everyone. My name is Landa Jeray Morgan, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And you're tuned in to another episode of
Living More with the Morgans.
Now, this time around, we super late, you guys. Like, super late. But not on our own volition. It is because of technical difficulties with the audio. I don't know what's going on with this audio, you guys.
Right.
I mean, we put some time and some money into this audio, and for whatever reason, we were on time.
Right.
We were early, actually.
Yes.
We were on time, and we hit play. We hit live, and people were telling us, "Hey, y'all look good," but we can't hear none of y'all saying.
Thank you.
You guys, thank you guys again so much for tuning in to Living More with the Morgan. This is the late edition. This is the after dark freaky edition.
Here we go again.
Cue the
Here we
cue
go
the
again.
sexy music, the Marvin Gaye music.
Not the Marvin Gaye
No,
music.
we gonna keep it cool tonight, you guys.
Yes.
But again, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you,
And before we
guys.
get into our show, we just want to make sure that you guys can hear us loud and clear.
Yes, please
right now,
let
we're
us
on
know.
several different channels across our social media platforms. Right now, you can find us live on Facebook from our official Facebook channel at facebook.com/Living More Morgans. That is the official channel for Living More with the Morgans. You can also find us live on Twitter. If Twitter is your thing, Periscope, we are on Twitter. We do have a Twitter account. You can find us at twitter.com/Live More Morgans, LIVE More Morgans. And then, of course, on YouTube, we want you guys to hit up the YouTube channel and subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Living More Morgans. And then you can also connect with us on our Instagram page. It's instagram.com/Living More Morgans. And so, again, we just want to do a quick roll call across our platforms right now. We can see you guys on a couple of platforms. But we need more phones. I mean, for real.
Yes.
We need more devices to be able to
need
see
more.
you guys
Right.
in different areas. So right now, I do see my sis, LaToya Cook, is on my page, Landa Jeray Morgan. Yes, you guys can also go to our personal pages. My personal page, Landa Jeray Morgan, and then my wife's personal page at Rotunda Morgan.
Yes.
And you can find us there as well. So we're on 5 different channels right now across the internet, so you guys can link up with us there. And so just want to make sure that you guys are hearing us loud and clear. I believe Papa is on my page. Yes, he is. He hears us loud and clear. He's saying everything is coming across crystal clear. The sound is great. Again, guys, thank you so much for staying up late with us. This is the late edition of Living More with the Morgans. And we're going to get the nice freaky music going because it's late and all the kids are in bed. And this is when all the freaks come out. This is when she come out.
Is your papa on?
Yeah, he's on.
Okay.
Papa worse than me.
Cut it.
Papa's worse than me. But
First, I want to say thank you for praying, Papa.
yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
for
I know
praying.
he was praying
We can
for
feel
us,
you, so.
and I know he felt
Mama.
the anger bubbling in me.
Yeah.
Because it was. I asked I said, "Babe, did I handle it a little bit better this time?" And she said, "I handled it."
She
So,
did.
so Papa, I'm getting better. I'm getting better because I would have kicked this table over and threw this computer off the balcony, but I didn't tonight. I did good, babe.
Yes.
I did, because it's 2023, you guys.
That's right.
And if you haven't noticed, this is the first podcast, the first episode of a brand new year, 2023, you guys. And so tonight's episode, we're gonna go a little bit longer tonight because we're getting started late. But you know what? Like I said, this is an adult-friendly show. We talk about adult topics. We talk about marriage. We talk about love. We talk about intimacy, travel. You know, we're going to get down with it, societal issues, things that we're dealing with. So the kids should be in bed, right? They should not be eating no mac and cheese right now at almost 10 o'clock at night.
It depends because they're out of school now.
Man, put them crumb snatchers to bed, y'all. It's 10 o'clock. Or let them watch some SpongeBob on the iPad or something. But put them to bed or put them in another room because we're going to get into it tonight, you guys. It's 2023, and I'm excited about 2023 because we were able to bring it in this weekend at church. We got a good word. A focused word for 2023. And we're going to recover all, and we're going to discover new things about us this year, you guys. So again, before we really get in, I'm just going to go into our different accounts just to make sure that you guys are seeing us and everything is coming across clear.
Yes.
And just to do a roll call, hit the comments, let us know that you can hear us,
Yes.
let us know that you can see us. And we're always going to be getting better, you guys. So the visuals, the video, the sound, we're always looking to expand and scale and get better. And so we do appreciate your patience when we do come on late and we do have some technical difficulties. Again, this is man-made stuff, so you're always going to have some issue with something that man has made.
Yeah, and also just want to say, you guys, you know, anything, this is like we were saying, it's 2023, pushed anyway. Push through the frustration, push through anything that tries to set you back, fight for it.
Absolutely.
You fight for it. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it may appear that it appears, but fight for it, because God says you shall conquer, you shall receive it all if you do not quit. So we will not quit in 2023. You push us, we're going to push you, and we're going to do this thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now, you guys are hearing us. You're on our Living More with the Morgans page. I see our sis Melissa Gabriel is in the building.
Hey,
she says,
sis.
"Love you, bro and sis. Proud of my family." Already
you.
got family out there in Oklahoma. So thank you so much for tuning
Love
in,
you,
Melissa.
sis.
We also got Tamika Green Long. She said the kids are going to school in the morning.
Oh,
Man, so y'all got one more night without the kids.
One more night.
So, you guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we've got Mama is on here as well.
Thank
love you,
Mom.
son and
we
daughter.
Love you, love you, love you.
Mama, she is in the building tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Mom.
Papa, again, is on that page.
Thank you, Papa.
If you guys are tuning in, thank you so much. Hit the comments. Let us know that you're on. And do us a big favor, right? Share on your wall.
Please share.
This is good, clean content, you guys. Ain't no cussing, ain't no fussing, ain't none of that drama. Share it on your wall. Share something positive in 2023. We're going to do some positive, uplifting things this year. We're going to expand our minds, right? We're going to get out of the gossip and all the foolishness. We're not doing that this year. This year, we're going to discover more about ourselves and we're going to recover all. We're going to get everything that we didn't get in years past.
This is the year of recovery and discovery.
Absolutely,
Amen.
absolutely. And so tonight's show, you guys, is called The Big Payback. The Big Payback. Now, if you don't know, back in the day, this was before my time. This is probably my wife's time, because she,
I don't know anything
she a cougar. She older than me, so she knows this song. She know this song better than I do.
I did not. I was a child growing up as when James Brown was coming up. I mean, I'm not that old.
Yeah, right.
I'm not. Well, nobody knows that unless you start talking about it.
That's true. You fine. You sure enough fine. But James Brown, you guys, had a song back in the day called "The Big Payback."
Yeah, The Big Payback.
And what James was talking about in this song, he was talking about how one of his partners had got with his woman, and he found out about it. And he ended up getting down with his girl, took his girl from him. And James came and said, "You know what?
Yeah.
You got down with my woman. You took what was from me. You took everything that I had in this woman, everything that we built together.
Right.
Now it's time to get revenge.
Right.
Now it's time for the big payback."
Yeah.
And that's what that song is about. And so tonight's episode, I wanted to kind of bite from, because I'm a big James Brown fan.
He is.
I mean, James Brown, Prince, Michael Jackson, all them eccentric black dudes from back in the day who were just artsy. That's my group. But anyway, James had this funky song called The Big Payback. Go Google it. But I love the lyrics and I love the concept of it. But what I also love is that what he's saying is, it's time for revenge. It's time to get back. I want payback. I want what belongs to me back.
Come on here.
You dig what I'm saying?
Right,
and so
I do. I dig
that's what
it.
we're saying about this year, 2023.
Right.
Is that this is the big payback.
Yes.
Recompense.
Right.
This is the year where we get back what was taken from us, even what we gave up.
Oh.
Even what we ignorantly gave up.
Come on now.
What we didn't know to keep.
Right. That's right.
What we didn't know to protect. We gonna get it back.
Yes.
And that coincides with everything. If you married, it's your marriage. If you broke, it's your finances.
Yeah.
If it was your business, if it was your ministry, if it was a project or a book or something that you were supposed to write, if it was something, a diagnosis that you got with your health or something, this is the year, yo, we finna get it back.
Let's get
The
it.
big payback.
Let's get it.
And we talk about, as believers, we talk about, we pray about the transfer of wealth, right? But along with that transfer of wealth, we got to have a renewing, a shift of the mindset. Yeah. Because what good is it if I hand you $1 million and you go out and you blow it on a Cadillac and some Louis Vuitton and some Jordans, within an hour.
Right.
You just blew something that could have made you $10 million, but you blew $1 million. Why? Because your mindset didn't change. You just got some more money.
Right, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So this ain't gonna be no payback for you. You're gonna be still paying back somebody.
Right.
You did?
Right.
And that's not what we want this year. We want to expand in our minds. We want to expand in our mentalities. We want to shift everything, you guys, so that we can get that big payback. Right. And I'm going to go more into that later on into the show. But again, I believe that 2023, if I could just rewind a bit, 2022 was a funky, rough year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know it was for us.
Yes.
And on this show, you guys, we just keep it 100, we keep it real and transparent. 2022 was ugly.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that was our saving grace this past year was our marriage. Mm-hmm. Right? Because in years past, we've had some rocky, rough years when it comes to marriage.
Right.
And we've had to hold it together with super glue because it's been that fragile in the past.
Right.
But I think this past year, 2022, was a year of strengthening. It was definitely a year of testing our might, testing our strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because I may have a different perspective of last year than you.
I agree with what you just said. It was a year of testing. A lot of things were, so up and down. Life is that anyway. But a lot of things were just so up and down. And, even with business, I remember today we were also talking to the young lady the place that we go to eat Japanese food at Ninja Grill. Mm-hmm. And she was speaking to me, and her, the chef was talking to me about how rough 2022 was. And
hold on real quick, babe. Bring your microphone box up because I'm getting a little interference from you and I'm not getting as clear.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better.
Okay. And sorry about that. And she was talking about how rough it was for her, how rough it was for them. And then another place that we go to, same thing. And they were saying how they were looking forward instead of looking back. Then 2023, they said, we're going to look forward. We're not going to look back. Right. So for all of us, that just meant to me that it wasn't just us. Okay.
Right.
It was everyone. We've known people close to us saying this was rough, but we endured, and we thank God that we have.
Right. And I remember hearing the young lady say that at the restaurant.
Yes.
Where last year was a very difficult, tumultuous year for them with business.
Yes.
And they got established in their restaurant last year. They opened their doors last year.
Yes.
And I remember because we would frequent them often. My wife loves Japanese food and Chinese food.
Yes.
And we would frequent this restaurant every now and then.
Yes.
And when we would go, there wouldn't be a lot of people in there, right? It's a brand new restaurant. They're trying to get the word out about it. Great food, great friendly people and everything, but just brand new and trying to, market and advertise and everything.
Right.
And that was the thing, is that they were having to overcome a tough economy.
Yes.
And looking to advertise and market something that's brand new for them.
Right.
Something in a different area location for them that they've never done before.
Right.
And you're trying to navigate through the uncertainty.
That's right.
Of a down economy.
Right.
Virtually a famine. Right. In this country. Mm-hmm. And they were having to navigate, and it was hard for them, and it was ugly for them. So to hear them talk about it in their business, in the restaurant business, it was tough, and it was tough for everybody, you guys. Yeah. I mean, I think I was seeing on CNN that Elon Musk, who is the founder of Tesla and now the owner of Twitter, he's like the first man in history, recorded history, that lost $200 billion last year. That's 200 billion with a B, not 200 million with a B.
Wow.
And so if my man Elon Musk had a tough year last year, a lot of people did financially. A lot of people struggling in America, people that we just felt were going to be together forever. It's like after COVID, they were filing for divorce.
Yes.
You know, people real, close to me in my family filed for divorce last year, separated. Yeah. And so 2022 was tough, man. It was tough. And I believe that we saw people pass away. Thank God we didn't have any deaths in our family, but we knew people who did.
And also sickness. I've gone through it. Some sickness.
Same with me.
Didn't realize that, honestly, that I had so much stress that I was dealing with. I'm a fitness professional, and thinking that, going to the gym and really, working out hard, I do, that would help me to clear my mind and give me a better perspective. And I thought that's what was happening, but my body started responding opposite of that. And I think now that we're in 2023, I think what we need to do now is reflect on what didn't go right, what did go right, and to get a perspective from that so that we can learn what we need to learn from that and move forward. One thing, like you said, that we learned that I am absolutely grateful for is that we learned that you and I, we have to stay linked arms. This right here is the strength of our everything. And when we're together and we're moving as one together, how powerful that is, and how much we sharpen one another, how much we can undergird and help one another to get through the difficult times. When I was sick, my husband was there for me, helping me through my illness. And that's what we are supposed to do. And I'm grateful for that, to just get through that.
Yes, absolutely.
Come on the other side.
And seeing you go through that was new for me, because you are the fitness, nutrition rock star in the house, in the family. So you were going through some things that I had never even heard of, right? This particular illness, I didn't even know what it was.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there having to Google, what is this? How do we deal with this?
Right.
Because this was new for both of us.
Right.
So it was like sudden attacks, y'all. Like attacks, foreign stuff. Like, where did this even come from?
Yes.
Not only in my wife, but in me as well. And so she got hit with an illness that we had never even heard of. And then I got hit with something I had never even heard of. And I'm sitting there having to Google, okay, what is this? Where did this come from?
Right.
And so all of these things were attacks coming from different directions. On top of that, the money issues.
Yes.
The finances.
Yes.
Now, to you who may be watching, you may be rolling in dough like Scrooge McDuck, right? You may be swimming in money.
Right.
Most of us aren't. We're getting to that point. We're building to that point where we'll have income and money like that. But last year we didn't. And so to keep our businesses afloat, to keep our visions afloat, we had things that we were looking to build and to launch overseas that we didn't get a chance to fully because it was attacks from every angle.
Right.
Like stuff that we had never experienced before.
Absolutely.
But I will tell you this, what it did. It like you said, it made our bond stronger.
Yes.
It made us link and grow closer even more.
Right.
Where we stopped becoming each other's enemy. even though the enemy is attacking us, I remember in years past, you would become my enemy because I didn't know how to fight the enemy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So arguments would ensue.
Right.
And we would, and that would be birthed out of frustration, out of impatience, out of money issues, or whatever.
Right.
And we're fighting each other. Right? That's like, I'm a big Dallas Mavericks fan, right? Or a Cowboys fan. That's like Micah Parsons fighting with Dak Prescott.
Right.
Y'all on the same team, fool.
Right.
Y'all both trying to win.
Right.
Why are you fighting each other? And then across the way, you got the Philadelphia Eagles that are beating you upside the head and scoring the points. No, stop fighting each other and go fight this enemy.
Right.
So I think we learned that this year, that, we got to fight this thing head on.
Right. And we have to learn it. Right. Because I think sometimes God allows things to happen so that we can learn and to grow. We have to. And unfortunately, it shouldn't take that. But again, we allow the world and society to tell us where we should be at a point in our lives, what we should be doing. If you don't have $1 million by the time you're this age or this stage of your life, if you're not here yet, then we start to do what? We start to inwardly take on those things that the world is telling us to do. And it doesn't matter if you're in church. It doesn't matter if you say, we all do it.
We all do it.
We not intentionally, but we're trying to, when you get a certain age, you're trying to get there and get the things done that God has put in your heart to do. I know for us, it's about purpose. So the frustration came for us because we have so much God has dumped in us to say, you're going to do this, that, this, that. And you're like, okay. Yeah. And you're like trying to, you literally manage it all, right? And saying, okay, God, that's a lot. We're still right here doing this. And now you're saying you're adding this and you're adding that. And so I think what we do is we become impatient. We don't, I always say this, we have to go back to the originator. Who said that you're going to do these things? And say, God, which is God, I don't know how to handle this at this moment. So what do I do? What plan of action do I have? A lot of times God gives us things, babe, and they're not for right now. And we don't learn that. It's just like this. I say this all the time. It's like getting a plate of food, okay? You go over there and you get some chicken, you get mashed potatoes, you get your greens, you get your cornbread, then you get your mac and cheese, then you're adding on a green bean casserole. Don't eat that though. A green bean casserole, and then you're adding on a pie, then you're adding on, your plate is too full. Right. And so when your plate is too full, you can't eat all that.
Right. Some gonna get cold.
Some gonna get cold and
Right.
So God is saying that I believe that He is calling us totally to Him. Period.
He has to be. He has to be. And you made a great point, because I know for me, if I'm not careful, I find myself getting envious. Really? Oh, absolutely. I find myself getting frustrated and envious when I see people that I deem undeserving take rank and take position. And I'll give an example. I remember seeing Elon Musk acquire Twitter.
Right.
And in my mind, I was like, okay, God, you've told me and my wife that we're going to do this, and this. You've spoken it. You've had people speak it into our lives. We know it to be true. We know it to be, to be real. We're working on it. We're not sitting back twiddling our thumbs waiting for it to happen. No. We're doing the necessary steps that we know to do to acquire that and to get that. But then I see somebody come and blow $40 billion on a social media app. And in my mind, I'm saying, okay, now, Lord, now you said the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and all the gold is yours and all the silver is yours. Why this cat got our money? I'm just being honest, And that's not that I'm jealous of Elon. Do your thing.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I was taking it up with God, like, okay, hold up now, what's up? I mean, what's up with us? Mm-hmm. Hence the big payback.
Right.
Okay. Because if there's a big payback, if there's a reason for recompense, mm-hmm. if there's a reason for something coming back to you, that means that there was labor that was unpaid.
Right.
That means that there were things that you did, that you sowed, that you gave,
right.
work that was put into something,
right.
where you did not receive either the outcome or the wages of mm-hmm. what you were expecting to get from that thing that you sowed or that you gave. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I had to check my spirit. I had to check myself and say, hold up now. I'm looking at, and see, that's what we do. I'm looking at the Elon Musks. I'm looking at the billionaires, and I'm looking at, all these guys, and I'm looking at social media. Mm-hmm. I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing this and this and this and this, and the enemy's in my ear saying, okay, where's yours, bro? Mm-hmm. And then he'll throw up with me, yeah, you talented, but you ain't got that. Mm-hmm. Where's your God at with that? Mm. Oh, you want to put your wife and your family in this kind of house, but such and such over here, this rapper who's talking about B's and H's and, flipping drugs and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, he was able to buy his mom a $5 million crib in Atlanta. So I'm just being honest. I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, God, what's really happening here?
Right.
And I struggle with that. And not because I'm mad that they have it. I was angry and frustrated in saying, why do the wicked thrive? Mm-hmm. Not to call them wicked, but I'm like, okay, God, when I wake up, I say something to you. When me and my wife come together, we don't go a day without acknowledging you mm-hmm. and saying thank you. Mm-hmm. When we get in the car and we go from here to the grocery store, we're saying something to him. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm seeing people who have no clue who you are, don't care, mm-hmm. and they are getting the wealth and the resources. So I struggled with that mm-hmm. immensely last year, mm-hmm. And I had to learn what my spirit was telling me this year is that this is a year of the big payback. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of men and women of God. There's a lot of preachers, a lot of prophets and stuff that are saying a lot of stuff about what this year is going to be. And we hear the same thing year after year from some people. They ain't got no word. It's just something that sounds good and they just throw it out there and people shout and holler and spit and roll around the aisles and throw $100 in the air and that's it. They don't do anything. What I know needs to be done is that when you get a word like that, when you get a prophetic word like that, there should come instruction with that word, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. There should come insight with that word. And there should come implementation. The implementation is on you. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I likened it to when David being a youngster mm-hmm. and one of the baddest prophets in the land comes to his house, the house of Jesse. And think about it, David's 15, 16, 17 years old. He's a young cat. Mm-hmm. So we're dealing with adolescence in David. We're dealing with youthfulness. Right. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, he's nowhere in the house when the prophet pulls up. Now, people may think, oh, well, Samuel came by himself. That's incorrect. Samuel had handlers. He had an entourage with him, right? And this entourage pulls up at this little shabby place of a shepherd, Jesse, with his brothers. Mm-hmm. And this Samuel, who is, you can liken him to the T.D. Jakes of his time, right? Everybody knows who T.D. Jakes is globally. This is how Samuel was. And this brother comes up in there on assignment the next king of Israel is up in here somewhere. And then what he does is he sees David's brothers, and all these brothers is built and strapped up and swole and everything. And what does he do? He says, surely the Lord's anointed is among one of these brothers up in here. And God had to correct him on the spot, the prophet, because he's looking at the outside appearance, brothers all swole, strapped up. Oh, okay. And God has to say, no, none of them fit the bill. And so the prophet had to get corrected. And what I love is that he was able to take the correction in the moment, which many of them are not able to. But he takes the correction, and then he's like, then he gives this command. Nobody sits down, because he's like, Jesse, I know you must have another son. And Jesse's reluctant. Oh yeah, I got the little young one out there, and he out there sheep, cleaning up the sheep doo-doo and all this stuff. Somebody go get little Dave. And the prophet said, nobody sits down until Dave is up in here. Okay. And then we know the story. Dave comes in amongst his brothers. How do you think his brothers feel at that moment? All of them older than him. And David is the baby. The father was already reluctant to bring him in. And he gets anointed to be the next king of Israel. That's not no small thing. And I think about David in his adolescence, in his youthfulness. And I'm sure David is saying, man, I just got anointed by the T.D. Jakes of our time to be the next king of Israel in front of my brothers. But what does he do? I love David's youthfulness and rambunctiousness. David finds the next opportunity to go see how he can become king. So when he gets the opportunity from his dad to go take them cheese sandwiches to his brothers, David's looking at an opportunity at 16, 17 years old. How am I going to get up in this palace? Because he believes why he knows that Samuel would not have made that journey with that entourage to come and tell him something that wasn't going to come to pass. David's not thinking that it's going to happen 15 years from now, because Samuel never said that.
Right.
Samuel never said, in 15 and 11 years, 10 years, and 20 years, you're going to be, he never gave him a time. What I love about David is David at least says, I'm going to do some implementation myself to bring this thing to come to pass.
Right.
I wonder if we could do that today, but with insight and instruction. Right? David didn't have any real instruction or insight with what he was given. But out of his youthful zeal, he goes and says, man, I can take this opportunity to go fight this giant that ain't nobody able to take out. What makes him think that he can take this giant out that his brothers have been struggling with all this time? Why do I bring that up? Because sometimes when we get a word, or when we get excited about something that we want to do, we think it's going to happen in a week, 2 weeks.
Right.
David is probably thinking, if I go out here and strut my stuff and I go kill Goliath, I'm gonna be in the palace and it's gonna be on from there. It's gonna be this sequential order. Dude didn't know his men were gonna turn against him.
Right.
Dude didn't know it was gonna take 10, 11 years for him to get on the throne from that point in time. Dude didn't know that his master, the king, was going to throw a javelin at his head and try to kill him. Dude didn't know that he was going to see his best friend Jonathan killed in battle. Samuel didn't tell him none of that on his way to becoming king. Why am I sharing that? Because there are things that you guys may be believing God for. You're believing for big things to happen, and you should have big expectations. But it's going to be a journey, and it has been a journey. And so I don't want us to not be realistic in the things that we're believing for, because it's still going to be a process and still going to be some things that we have to work out. There were some things that God had to work out in David from the time that he got anointed as a 16-year-old to the time that he gets there.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that is something that you said earlier, I want to go back to is, how dealing with envy. It was the same thing that I was saying earlier. You guys, social media, the news, all these, the media, all of these things tell you and show you all these different things that are happening and going on. We that are faith-based people, we have to learn, and this is something that now that we're in the society of all of this technology, we must learn when to turn that off. Right. We have to learn when we looking over in someone else's yard, looking at how green their grass is, which maybe not as green as you think. And we're watching what they're doing, and we're paying attention what this person is saying. Until this is the year, okay, that I'm saying we have to have laser focus. Anything outside of the scope of what God has told you to do, or starting a business, having a family, okay, anything that you want to start, going back to school, okay, you have to learn in this time to minimize distractions. Because as long as we stay distracted, you will stay in the same place you always have been. There will be no growth. Wow. Because distractions are there to keep you from not growing. It is time now that we learn that anything that is distracting, I don't care if you're on TikTok and it might be something funny, and you want to look at that all day. I'm reminded of what my sister was saying earlier today, if it is the Dominator. It might be good, it might be fun, but if today you say, okay, I'm just going to look at this today, or, hey, I don't feel like going to the gym. Hey, I don't feel like doing this. If you don't talk to yourself and say to yourself, because, see, you control your mind. You don't allow your mind to control you and tell you, yeah, we're going to look over here at TikTok. No, we're not going to wash the dishes today. No, we're not going to study today. Whatever. You have to have discipline.
That's the key word, right?
That's a key word. Right. Discipline plus action. And plus relentlessness. You have to have all of these things in order to fulfill the things that you're saying that you want to do. Right. You can't finish school and get your MBA or your BA or your BS going out to the club every night. Right. Hanging out with your friends, going out to eat. You have to learn that, hey, I have a goal and a dream that I want to fulfill. If it is worth it to you, you will say, let me sit back and let me analyze this myself and look at the things that I need to take away, even if it's family, even if it's friends that are no longer beneficial for where you're going. And I'm not saying get rid of family, but I'm saying learning how to manage, those things. Until we do that, we're going to repeat 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019. If we want to really see the fruit, because social media is going to be here, okay? Right. IG is going to be here. If it ain't IG, it's something else. You got the TikTok. You got all these platforms, okay? But you got to understand, somebody owns these platforms.
That's right.
Okay?
Right.
People own these platforms, and guess what they're doing? Yeah, they want you to get on because they're making, look, you got people that are making $100,000 a minute. That sounds ridiculous. That's
true.
ridiculous
That's
money,
true.
but it's the truth, because their focus is to focus on their business to get as many followers and people to join and people to like as they can.
I said something, not to cut you off, honey, but
No.
I want you're right in the vein. I said something on our last episode where I was talking about how we need to become producers instead of consumers this year.
We have to.
And you talked about social media. And these platforms are multi-billion-dollar platforms.
Right.
Just let's take TikTok, for example.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, here's the kicker with TikTok. And I'm not against TikTok. I'm not against anybody being on TikTok, so don't misconstrue my words. In China, where TikTok was, where it originates, those kids and that society, they get totally different content on TikTok than we do over here in America.
Totally different content.
Over there, those kids are learning high-tech things.
Right.
Coding.
Right.
Through TikTok.
Right.
Sharing information about
Right.
learning, sharing information about
languages.
culture,
Yeah.
learning different languages.
Yes.
Right? They're learning things and acquiring knowledge, and they're using the information and the technology to pass back and forth knowledge. Now, am I saying they're not having fun with it? Of course they are.
Yeah.
They're dancing, they're singing songs, they're doing all those things as well. But they have a sense of balance.
That's it.
With what it is that they're doing there.
Right.
Here in America, a majority of the content on TikTok is dancing and funny skits and singing and all this different stuff.
And then they do have people that are going around helping the less fortunate, and doing beautiful things. So you're right. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying not to be on TikTok.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the majority of the information that we're consuming is not helping
the
us.
information we're consuming.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's not helping us, and it's not allowing us to acquire wealth or information.
Right.
We're being entertained by a lot of the content is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Nothing wrong with laughing, nothing wrong with dancing,
No, it's good.
But again, there should be a balance to it, you guys. And so what my wife is saying, I believe, with social media and all these different things, these avenues that we have, we're gonna have to really, if it's going to distract us, if it's going to take us off of our focus and off of our discipline, then cut it away. I'll be honest. I'm gonna be flat out honest. I had to unfollow some folk. I didn't delete them. I didn't unfriend them or anything. But I had to unfollow because of some of the content that I was seeing.
Right.
That they put out there.
Right.
I didn't want the old pole mouth. Oh, woe is me. I can do that. I can do that myself.
Right.
So I didn't want to. The first thing when I'm scrolling through. When I do scroll through, I don't want to see that.
Because you don't need something that's feeding you the same thing that you're dealing with.
Exactly.
You don't need that. If we're going to be, this right here, if we're going to change our mindsets, we have to change everything around us, everything that we're watching, looking at, that we're feeding ourselves that are not, again, healthy. You cannot have a wonderful marriage or a wonderful family or a strong business if you're more focused on what other people are doing and saying. What we're saying is that these platforms, are owned by people who are focused on building brands, building companies that are going to make millions and billions of dollars to do whatever they need. A lot of the companies are helping people around the world. Yes, but when are we going to get to a point, like you said earlier, that we're less consumers, but we're more producers? And in this year, in 2023, when we say in the big payback, don't you want back everything that you have lost? Everything that you like you said, throw it away. Aren't you tired of seeing the same thing over and over? I am. I told my husband, look, in 4 months, I'll be 55 years old. And I'll tell anybody, the older you get, now everybody's not there, but your mind should elevate. You should become more and more focused, more and more intentional. You should be more and more intentional about your life, personal life, your family. You should not allow things in your life that is going to hold you back, because we've had enough of that. I've seen enough of that. And I'm not, again, I'm not saying this because I know everything, but I'm saying this because this is what I've saw with my own eyes, and this is what I know I've done in the past. I want you to get back everything that has been taken, whether you gave it away, whether you didn't know that you were giving it away, or whether it was taken from you. Have life. I quote this all the time, and I love this that God says. He said, beloved, I desire that you have life, and life more abundantly. Do we understand? Look up the word abundance.
Some translations say, I wish above all.
All things, yes.
I wish above all of this.
All of this.
Yeah.
The distractions, the mess, all this, that you have life, and an abundant life. And if we want to have that, we can't be sitting back with a catcher's mitt thinking God is going to dump it down on us, and we're not working, we're not doing our part to get it. And we're not moving things out the way and getting in a posture so that we can hear and we can get the wisdom and knowledge we need in order to do those things that he called for us to do.
You're absolutely right. But I think in addition to that, you have to first believe.
You have to believe
that abundance is for you.
Yes.
And abundance for whatever amongst believers is a bad word. To me, broke is a bad word. In debt is a bad word. Mortgage is a bad word.
Right.
To me.
Right. It is.
Because when I pay a mortgage, I'm in debt to the bank.
Right.
So if I miss a payment to the bank on my house in 2-3 months, guess who's coming to knock on my door, or who's all of a sudden now blowing up my phone to pay for a house? The Bible says, owe no man nothing but to love him. So I don't want to owe the bank to sleep in my bed at night, or for my kids to play in the background in the backyard.
Right, because he said he'll give you what? Houses
you didn't build.
Wow.
Vineyards you did. I want that. But see, we have to, just to go back with what you were saying,
go ahead.
We have to believe that is a lifestyle that we can acquire, that we can have.
He said it.
And the thing about it, our secular counterparts, they believe it without question.
That's hurtful.
Our non-believing counterparts, those who are not Christians, those who are not believers, they believe that abundance and opulence and all of that is for them without, you can't tell them it's not for them. Why is it such a problem, so hard for us to believe that?
Right.
We want all these spiritual gifts. Oh, I want to be able to speak in tongues, and I want to be able to heal the sick. Okay, how you gonna get to the sick? How you gonna get to the sick if you can't put gas in your car?
Right.
You can't. Your car is struggling, and you can't change the transmission in the car because you can't put it in the shop. Why? So you can't get up the street and do no work.
Right.
Why? Because we're struggling with these things, and we're struggling with the mindset that wealth is something that God wants us to have. Living in abundance is something that God wants us to have. So this year, in order for you to get back, to take back the big payback, you're going to have to renew your mind on some things, and you're going to have to deprogram yourself.
You have to.
Of what you've always known. All of us do.
We have to.
Because we can sit here right now from what 2022 handed us, which was some crap. And we can be po-mouthed and, well, Lord, last year was ugly and this year going to be the same way and no.
What you speak out of your mouth, you'll have.
Right.
We have to learn not to speak things.
Right.
I wanted to say something really quickly. Yeah. I was reading and studying the other day, and I think I sent this to you, and I sent this to our daughter. And I was reading, this is John 15 in the NIV. I'm just going to read these two little quick verses. Mm-hmm. And this is what the Lord said, okay? God says, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. That's verse 7. Verse 8 says, and this is the verse I'm getting to, this is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples.
Time out though. Because I love that scripture and I know it.
I love it.
I know that scripture. And I can remember years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, debating with someone about that scripture. And you know what their debate was with me?
Right.
That when God says produce much fruit and more fruit, oh no, brother, he's not talking about stuff. He's not talking about abundance and wealth and you know, he's talking about you making disciples. That's what I was told. The debate on that scripture, I remember it like it was yesterday. No, brother, God's judging you by the disciples that you make and by the people who come to Christ through you. And I remember being so vexed in my spirit hearing that 20 years ago.
Right.
Why? Because we tend to relegate everything Jesus was talking about that was practical. We try to minimize it and water it down to, oh, everything is spiritual. Everything is, oh, super spiritual. And, oh, he's talking about this. Da, da, da. And we take things out of context to where God knows and Jesus knew I have a life that I have to live here on earth. And I cannot impact people if I do not have my needs and the things that I need for me and my family and for others covered. Right. If I'm broke and I'm begging and I can't pay my bills, it's going to be hard for me to, number one, praise God. It's going to be hard. I'm sorry. You can debate me all you want to. You praise God better. I'm not saying you do it more, but you do praise God a little bit better and more thankful when you got some money in your pocket. When you broke and they come in and knock on your door and you're getting them calls from the bill collectors, your praise is a struggle. You dig what I'm saying? Your praise is you're having to eke it out of you. And you're almost kind of doing it reluctantly because it's not built in joy. Right? God doesn't want some, and see, we're conditioned to think that God wants a sacrificial praise. Everything that he wants from you is not that he wants it sacrificially. I want to wake up and give him praise in the morning because I'm joyful that my bills are paid. I'm joyful that my kids ain't got no sickness or illness that we can't go and take care of in the hospital. That kind of joy comes also with abundance, with wealth, but also the spiritual gifts that God gives us. Right. There is balance with that.
There is. And we have to remember that just because everybody reads the word doesn't mean they understand the word. Right. And the Bible says, in all thou get an understanding. Right. There are nuggets and things in the Bible that are hidden in plain sight. Right. What do I mean? God reveals himself, and he reveals these things, the deeper things, the things that are that he says he used the foolish things to confound the wise, right? He uses those things and he puts them there. You won't know what it is or understand it when you don't have relationship with him. You won't understand the word when there's no relationship. Right. You will keep God in a box, in a religious box, a box someone has told you this is who the God you serve. And he can't go outside of that. Wow. We do that. Why? Because we've been up under different types of people who did not know the word, who did not understand the word. What do we do every day? Study. Pray and study and get an understanding. So when she said what she said, and I'm going to tell you this, we don't argue. You don't argue with people that do that. You let them, you say, well, God, you go ahead and handle that. Preferably, they'll get revelation. Right. But when you got it, okay, you start to look as if you are what is the word?
A heretic.
Heretic. That's the word I wanted to use. You begin to look like that. So what? Because God says he don't reveal this to everybody.
No, he doesn't.
The Bible even still says that many are called, but few are chosen.
Right.
See, I'm in the word. I know what the word said because that is what we see.
And
right?
anytime, absolutely. Anytime you have a revelation of things
Right.
that the majority of people don't,
Right.
when you say or you give that revelation, you're always going to look like a heretic.
Right.
Because it's like manna to them.
Right.
Manna literally means what is it?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when they saw manna, they were literally saying, well, what is it?
Right.
So when you come with revelation of things, that is based in the word and people haven't heard it that way before, they're always going to question it and they're going to question you. And you have to be ready for that. You have to be built for that. I've been getting that for years.
You have to
But
be
people are like,
built
well,
for it.
what you mean by that? I'll never forget, I was talking billions when the B word was totally not allowed in church. And when I mean the B word, I'm talking about billions.
Right.
I was saying that 20 some odd years ago, that God was calling us to big. I was going and looking at Lamborghinis back in 99. I was going and saying, God, you want us to have the Rolls Royces and the Lamborghinis and the Bugattis. You want us to have those things, not car payments on Kias. Nothing wrong with Kia, but I'm using an example. Not a car payment, not a high interest car payment with my bad credit score trying to get any car,
Right.
a Toyota or a Ford. No. You want me to go in and walk into Rolls Royce and say, I'll take this one in black, with black, on black, on black, on black, and I need it delivered here by next week. That was what I was saying years ago. And people were saying, this cat is crazy.
Right.
This dude is worldly.
Right.
He's worldly. He's this and this and this. I'm used to that. But the revelation I've gotten, people are just now talking about it now. They're just now comfortable saying billionaire, millionaire. Oh, God wants me to be this? Yes, he does. He doesn't want you to be broke. He doesn't want you to be impoverished. He doesn't want you begging for bread. So our mindset has to change before the big payback comes in.
In every area.
In every area. Not just with money.
Right. In every area.
In every area.
That's right.
Our how we treat one another.
Yes.
How we go about in society. How are we looking at things? How are we looking at things that are changing around us?
Right.
The big payback may not necessarily come through you just getting a check or some money.
Right.
That big payback may come through wisdom. And how do you utilize the technology and the resources of today with that newfound wisdom that you have to be able to acquire and get access to the wealth? If you're going to be scared of technology, if you're going to be scared of the evolution that's taking place around the world, then you're going to be you're going to be held back. You're holding yourself back, and then you won't get that payback that's due to you.
And I want us to dismiss fear, because God said he didn't give us that spirit.
Right.
I'm going to say that again. God said, I didn't give you that spirit. We take on those spirits, because we start to do what? Reduce ourselves down to, oh, I can't do that. I don't have the knowledge to do that. I'm not that smart. Oh, they said I'm not supposed to have that. Oh, I can't obtain that. If you keep saying that, you won't. That is what you're doing. You're spewing fear in the atmosphere, and it does what it does. What's the word? It comes back. Okay, it comes back. What you speak, it comes back to you. It's reciprocity, and that is something that I want. Like you said, in this year, if it's gonna be the big payback, let it be the payback of, wait a minute, I'm more than a conqueror.
Right.
I can do this. And don't be afraid. Like Iffy said today, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Bingo. Ooh.
You guys, you're going to make mistakes. Remember, remember some of you have children. Remember when they started crawling, and when they were crawling, then they started walking. And then when their walking was wobbly and stuff, and then they would fall down, and they would look at you and see if you were going to do, and you don't do that. you're like, you gotta get up, come on, let's go. And they were making those, and to them, you know, they're like, that's a mistake, I should be walking, I should be able to come to you.
Right.
You guys, we're gonna fall down, we're gonna get up. But guess what? It's just like Steve Harvey said, that net is out there, okay? The parachute gonna open. You might skin your knee a little bit. You might have to put a little Band-Aid on it a little bit. But so what? You can learn from that.
Yes.
And that will make you stronger.
And you have to be willing to learn from people who know what it is that you don't know.
You have to.
You're going to have to surround yourself with people who are wiser, who are smarter, who are more astute in the areas that you're not. And you have to kill the pride. Right. And say, you know what? I don't know how to do that. Right. I don't know that. And instead of being jealous or envious of them, we're going to have to say, you know what, man, I need to lock arms with this brother or this sister. Right. That's the only way you're going to even get the payback that's coming.
That's the only way. Because
your payback could be in the connection with someone.
Yes.
Your payback could be in the wisdom that you get from the new technology or the new resources that are out there. But if you don't know them, if you're not aware of them, then you won't be able to access your payback. And I'm going to, when we come back after break, honey, I want to go ahead and start wrapping it up. But there's something that we heard a couple of nights ago from Apostle Sean, and he said something during his New Year's Day message. And he talked about recompense and payback for us as African Americans in this country. And I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about it not just us as African Americans in this country, but the payback that is coming, right? The payback that is coming to those of us who are on the beneficiary side of it, and the payback that may be coming to those who have withheld the information and the resources from us all these years. But let's take a break and let's come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're not going to take too much long break because we know it's late. It's almost 11 o'clock. We thank you guys so much for staying up with us tonight.
Thank you for the ones that are on. Thank you.
For everyone that's on, thank you guys for staying up with us with the late edition. Don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back after these commercial breaks, you guys. Stay there. Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Landis Jeray Morgan, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
I'm Rotunda Morgan.
Yes, you are. And we want to invite you to our new podcast, Living More with the Morgans. You can tune in on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time on all of our social media platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, and on our official YouTube channel at Living More with the Morgans. You can also follow us and like us on Instagram at Living More with the Morgans. We'll see you there.
Be there. Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from. When it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com.
All right, you guys, and we're back with Living More with the Morgans on today's episode, The Big Payback. And we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up the conversation, you guys. But as we do, I've got an announcement I got to make. Very important announcement I've got to make, you guys.
Yes.
Y'all do know that right now we're in the month of January. And January is a very, very, very special month because some of the best people that were ever walked the planet were born in the month of January. I think about Dr. Martin Luther King. I think about so many great pioneers and forward-thinking people that were born in the month of January.
Yeah.
And you know what, honey? I was born in the month of January.
You were.
I was born in the month of January. And so this Thursday, y'all, January the 5th, your boy turns 42. Oh yeah. I'm looking at everything of 35, but I turned 42. And it's officially Capricorn season. Don't hate. Please don't hate. It is officially Capricorn season. And if you were born in the month of January, you know what time it is. Fam, if you want to give by Cash App between now and the rest of the month, because I celebrate all the month of January, you can give on Cash App. Landa Morgan.
This man done put his Cash App out here.
Oh yeah, I ain't too proud to beg. 42nd birthday, January 5th, this Thursday. Be generous. Do your thing. Cash App. PayPal. Cash. Do what you got to do. Honey, you want to say anything?
Can we get on with the show?
I mean, but I'm just giving people an opportunity to be.
Happy birthday, brother. Let's get on with the show.
I'm trying to give people an opportunity to be generous.
Just kidding.
No.
Happy birthday.
Thank you,
Happy
baby.
early birthday.
Thank you, baby.
42. That's
Thank
a
you.
blessing.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
And so, again, if you guys want to give Cash App,
Yes.
it's just my name, Landa Morgan. I'm the only one that's out there.
Yeah.
And you guys can definitely do that. But in continuing with our show, I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you guys to everyone who has tuned in. We've got some people that are watching in different channels right now. We may not necessarily be able to see you or see your comment, but we do definitely appreciate you, and we will go back.
Absolutely.
And we will, and even on YouTube, I know we've got some people probably watching on YouTube right now.
Thank you.
Shout out to you guys who are in the chats right now on YouTube. Thank you so much. And if you aren't on our YouTube channel, we do want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you guys.
Yes.
Why? Because we're always coming out with new content. We've got shorts on there. We're going to be live on location in different places that we're going to travel.
Yes.
So we won't always be behind the desk. We might be in Paris for one week. We might be in Nigeria 1 week, and then we might be down in New Orleans or something. Yeah. So you don't know what we're going to be, you guys. And so we want you to tune in over there on our YouTube channel as well. All right. And so back on our show and back on the topic, the big payback. And on Sunday, I remember hearing Apostle Sean say to the congregation that there was a payback that was coming to the descendants of enslaved Africans who are now African Americans. And for years now, for the past maybe 3, 4, 5 years, there's been more in-depth discussion about reparations for African Americans. Me personally, I've always said that there is no way you can take the biggest brain, the biggest computer, the biggest mathematician, and they would not be able to calculate the amount of reparations that are owed to the enslaved, to the descendants of the enslaved Africans, of African American people. There's no way you would be able to do it. Any amount that would be proposed from the government would be a total slap in the face. I don't care if you'd have to add T on there, not B. You'd have to add T on there, several T. A company like Apple is worth $3 trillion.
Right.
So you can't even come to us as African Americans with $3 trillion because there's a company out there that's worth it, worth that amount. What am I saying? I'm saying that payback that is owed to us, I believe is coming, but I believe it is coming with the ability, the access, and the wisdom to be able to acquire the wealth that was taken from us or kept from us. And we have to remember that in this country, certain laws were in place that we were not able to acquire land.
Right.
So you'd have to be able to accrue and calculate all the land that we didn't get. Because they said in the laws, one president said, okay, we'll give each African 40 acres and a mule. And I believe they assassinated that president, and the next president coming in, it was like, oh, well, he just got amnesia and wiped that off the books, and we never got it. Okay. With that being said, there are things that are out there that are forced to acquire. But if we were handed a check and we didn't change our mentality or how we handle money, all we would do is turn around and blow that money on businesses and on products and services that we don't own.
Right.
Right? Because if you go out here and they hand you a check and you go out here and you buy a BMW, or you go out here and buy a Cadillac, or you go out here and buy some Michael Kors and Louis Vuitton purses, you just put the money right back into their hands.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
Even if you go out here and you acquire real estate,
Right.
well, they own the real estate. So you go out here and you buy and you put the money right back in their hands, and now you're waiting for that real estate to accrue in value and interest. And then who determines what the market's going to do? We don't. We don't determine the market value because it's not enough of us. We don't have a high populace in this country to be able to determine, hey, this piece of property is going to accrue to this amount. Right?
Right.
We don't make the decision. So we would have to be way smarter and want more than just a check cut to us for reparations. So when Papa gave that word, I thought it's got to be through the ability and the wisdom to be able to acquire the wealth. And to be able to access the wealth.
Yes.
To the point to where we now start building with one another.
Right. That's what.
You dig what I'm saying?
That's what. I'm glad you said that.
We have to build with one another.
Yes.
And dare I say, we're going to have to build outside of America. Now, why do I say that?
Right.
Because again, a lot of America is already owned by people who are not African Americans or of African descent. So if we pay them the money for land or for buildings or whatever, then they get the money and they get ownership. In order for us to have ownership, we have to build on land that we acquire, that we put the dollar value on.
Right. So I believe, like you're saying, is that God is going to give us the wisdom, keen insight, wisdom, in order to be able to take over territories.
Right.
Okay? That is what I believe God is going to do. That is going to be, I believe, the reparation that we're going to be looking for. Because, again, we always say that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, okay? But how are you going to acquire that when you don't, how are you going to obtain it when you don't understand how to acquire it? When you don't have the wisdom, the knowledge to be able to get on the inside and find out how does this operate? You know, it's not wrong to want to partner. Like you said, we have to partner together.
Yes.
But to partner with others outside of our familiar circle or our color, our kind, in order to get an understanding of how things work.
I love that you said that.
Thank
I love
you.
that you said that because so often with us as African Americans, we tend to be very distrusting, not only of among one another, but we will trust our Caucasian brothers and sisters and do business with them before we do business among ourselves. Okay. And we have to fix that. How do we fix that? We fix that through providing good customer service. We fix that through providing good customer experiences. and trusting one another. You have to give each other opportunities.
Yes.
You can't walk into a relationship and just automatically, it's like if I'm finna date somebody, if I date a woman and I just walk and I meet her for the first time and I say, you're gonna break my heart, you're gonna do this, and in a week I know you're gonna do this to me, and you're gonna take my money and you're gonna leave, and da-da-da. If you come into a thing with those kinds of expectations, you've already shot yourself in the foot.
Right. Right.
And so, especially when it comes to business, we're going to have an open mind, one, with working with one another.
Right.
And we're going to have to be patient with working with one another.
Right.
And then we're going to have to start trusting one another. Right. And then on top of that, like you were saying, you're going to connect with people outside of your race group, outside of your culture. Right. Right. You're going to have to. So you're going to lock arms with your Indian brothers and sisters. You're going to lock arms with your Caucasian brothers and sisters, or your Asian brothers and sisters. You're going to have to. Yeah. Right? Because that's where God is not a discriminator of wealth and wisdom. So the wisdom that you need may be in the Asian guy who has a slamming YouTube channel. And you can connect with him. Right. Or the know-how that you need to start this business or for this thing to scale may be in the Indian kid who's 16 years old, and he knows everything that you need to know. But you can't be prideful, and you can't be like, oh, well, no, I'm not going to. No. You're going to have to go outside of your sphere. Right. You're going to have to go outside of your comfort zone this year in order to get this payback that's coming to us. And it could be someone that looks like you as well, that has the wisdom and the knowledge and everything. Like you said, you know, if we want the payback this year, we have to learn, just like Iffy, again, I have to say, because Iffy just, the nuggets she drops are just great. And we have to learn to work together. Yes. And there's strength in numbers. And if we learn this and start building now in 2023, learning to work together, and we will see the most amazing things that God will do in that. I know that. He's telling me that now. I can hear it. Right. He will do amazing things, but we have to get outside of the box. We have to get outside of ourselves. We can't be prideful. We can't be scared. We can't have fear, because if we're going to continue to keep these things, then we're not going to be benefactors. We're not going to realize our fullest potential. Right. So this is what we wanted to talk about tonight, and that we want everyone to reach and see their full potential, to see the things come into fruition of the things that you've been praying and wanting. But we have to have what we call work ethic, as well as prayer, as well as trust. We got to learn to trust one another. We got to learn to go outside of our immediate community or people that we know, and be able to work with those people as well, so that we can build something that we can be proud of, and that can make a difference. Absolutely. That's the thing, to make a difference. I want to throw one more thick nugget in there before we get out of here. Yeah, and that's all I had to say with that. That was good, though. On top of what my wife just shared, you guys, hear this from my heart. You're going to have to stop being cheap with your vision. It takes money to make money, y'all. Yes, it does. It takes money. And I see a lot of people who want the grandiose thing, but they're not willing to spend the money. They're not willing to make the investment. Like my wife said, pour in the work ethic. Yeah. And then I see a lot of things now, and hear my heart in this, you guys, and please don't take this in offense. I see a lot of things out now that there's tons of do-it-yourself apps and do-it-yourself design things that are out there. You have to remember that in business, because there are so many consumers and so many potential customers, and so many people are doing something similar to what it is that you're doing, people do judge books by their covers. They do judge a product or service based on on the presentation of that thing. So if you present something and you do it with this do-it-yourself app or whatever, you may not be getting the best results that you could get if you just spent a little money to do it the right way. What am I saying by that? There's a reason why McDonald's, who's been around since the 50s, Coca-Cola, Gatorade, Pepsi, there's a reason why these big billion-dollar companies still spend millions of dollars of advertising on their products. And you would think, well, they don't have to spend so much money because people know of their stuff. It's the exact opposite. They're spending more money because they want to keep Gatorade in your face. They want to keep Pepsi in your face. They want to keep Doritos in your face.
Because another generation is
because
coming.
there's another generation,
Yes.
but two, they want to keep getting your money.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They want to keep scaling their business. They have jobs that they're providing for people.
Right.
So they're willing to spend $1 million on a 30-second commercial. And I know people who won't spend $500 for a potential advertisement to put their business out there. Think about it. If you sell merchandise and you really sell it, and your marketing is presentable, your website is presentable, $500 is nothing to spend on an advertisement. So we've got to change our thinking, because here's the thing. When you talk about business, you talk about the marketplace, whether you believe it or not, whether you know it or not, you're in competition with someone.
Yes.
You're in competition with someone who does something different, even if you're in ministry. Let me break it down for all my preachers who and my prophets who was on there. You're in competition. You're not saying, oh, well, let me compete with this church across the street. I hope you're not doing that. But what am I saying? I'm saying that when you put something out there, there's someone on the other side of the street that is putting their thing out there in excellence, in quality, and they're presenting it in a way with the spirit of excellence, and they're presenting with God's spirit. But if you're going to have this lackadaisical, oh, well, the Lord, the Lord's going to do it and He's going to blow on it and it's just going to happen. No. You're taking the wrong approach to building that thing and to scaling that thing to where you're going to have to spend money. My wife and I, we drive a nice luxury car, right? A nice German luxury car. And we know that taking it to the dealership, yes, it's expensive. But we know that in certain circumstances, they have parts that other automobile mechanics don't have, right, because it's specific to that car. So when I bought the car, I knew I would pay more money on maintenance and parts by buying that car. I knew that when I bought it. So don't get cheap when you get the thing and now, oh, well, no, we're gonna do the oil change ourselves. I'm not finna get out here under the hood and do an oil change on a luxury German automobile. Even though I could, but I'm probably gonna struggle. I'm probably gonna do something wrong, and it's probably not gonna be as effective when I finish with that bad boy.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying about us in business, particularly African Americans. If we want the big payback, you're going to have to make bigger investments.
Yes.
You're going to have to sow bigger seeds.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put in more work,
yes,
more time into that thing.
Yes.
Because if you're just going to put a little bit of minimal time and, oh, I'm going to do this do-it-yourself graphic, there's somebody out there who's doing something that you're doing, and guess what they're doing? They're spending money. They're talking to a mentor. They're calling up Iffy the Dominator and say, hey, sis, I'm going to invest in your class. I'm going to invest in your course, and they're paying the money and they're getting the know-how and the knowledge, and then they're turning around and they're calling Infusion Design Solutions. Hey, I need that dope website. I need this marketing materials, and they're spending the money, and you're going to be mad and envious and jealous because they're getting clients and they're getting business because they're willing to invest in the vision and in the business and in the ministry that God has given them.
That's right.
So you can't get mad when you look up and you're a farmer and you ain't got no crops. You got no food on your plate. You got no produce. You can't get mad because you didn't go out there and till the land. You didn't go out there and make sure that the water was irrigated correctly. You didn't go out there and make sure that the rodents were scattered away and the bugs and spraying the right pesticides and stuff so the bugs don't eat up your crop. You weren't willing to do that. You just thought, oh, I got a word from God and God's just going to do it. No, Adam had to till the garden. Adam had to make the garden beautiful. Here's the thing about people don't know about the Garden of Eden. I'll share this and we can roll out. The Bible never said that God made the garden beautiful for Adam. No. Adam made the garden beautiful. The earth was void of nothing. Vegetation was in the earth. Adam made the garden beautiful. God left that up to Adam to make his vision beautiful. Good. God didn't just make it beautiful for him.
That's right.
Adam did that.
Right. That's right.
And then when he got his helpmeet Eve, she's doing the drapes and the curtains and all the other stuff that goes with it. And they doing it together.
That's good, yeah.
So you want something pre-built from God, it ain't gonna go down like that.
Amen.
You're gonna have to invest in order to get this payback that's coming to you. You're gonna have to invest in people. You're gonna have to invest some time. You're gonna have to invest in some new relationships and get rid of some old ones. The payback is coming. But are you prepared and ready for it? I think about, I believe it was Elijah, where he said, I hear the sound of the abundance of rain. He said, I don't see it,
right, but
I hear it. And what did he do? He sent his servant to go find and see what it is that he was hearing. And all he did after 7 times, he comes back with a report and saying, you know what? I don't see nothing but a cloud the size of a man's hand. Now, here's what gets me about that. He didn't see a cloud in the shape of a man's hand, because that would be a pretty big cloud where, okay, that's a big cloud and it's shaped like a man's hand. That's enough cloud to give me some rain. But he says, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. I wouldn't even come back and reported that. I would have been afraid to report that. But that was enough to say, get your chariots ready. Get the horses ready. Get your bags ready. The rain is coming.
Yeah.
This is that sign for you, those who are watching, that the big payback is coming. It's upon us. But it's going to be up to you to look at what you see and look at what you hear and start preparing for that thing to come to pass. Start preparing for that thing to be big. You got to go into it with big expectations for the big payback.
That's right.
And if your expectations ain't big, and then you're going to have another year like years past.
We don't want that.
And we don't want that.
Right.
And you don't want that.
No.
So guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We know it's late night, but we pushed through it, babe.
Yeah.
And we'll be back here next Tuesday. New time, 8:30 p.m. Central.
Yes.
8:30, not 8 o'clock, but 8:30 p.m. Central. We'll be here on next week for you guys.
Yes, we will.
And so we love you. We appreciate
love
you so
you.
much.
Thank you so
Again,
much.
go to all of our social media platforms. Hit us up on there. We do respond back to comments. You can inbox us as well.
Yes.
And until then, you guys, be blessed. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.